Good morning, everybody. So excited to be here, finally. Having everybody here, this networking event was thought about back in, I guess, November. And I had wanted to have it at, in celebration of International Women's Day in March. And with the COVID lockdowns, I'm so glad that we had to reschedule for this beautiful day at the end of May. I'm told it's going to be the hottest day in I don't even know how many years. So I'm really happy that we're finally here. And I'm really happy that we're here at the Liberty Grand. I've always wanted to have a function here. I was hoping maybe I would get married here. But I guess this is it. This is my wedding, everybody. So thank you for coming. So I just wanted to introduce myself because there's a lot of you that don't know who I am. My name is Michelle Goodrich, and I am the founder of Real MG. It is a global networking group for women in real estate, a networking community. And a little bit of background about me. A lot of people think that I was a real estate agent or something like that, but I've never been a realtor. I don't know how many of you do it. Hats off, you guys are saints. But I worked at the corporate head office for RE/MAX Canada and RE/MAX Europe. I worked with the founders. Woo-hoo! I worked for the founders for 23 years. And last July, our North American operations was sold back to our parent company in Denver, Colorado, and my role was eliminated. But before I left RE/MAX, I created a women's networking group for RE/MAX. It was called REAL, but that stood for RE/MAX Empowering Ambitious Ladies. So when I left, I was just devastated because I was, oh my God, I was doing so great. We had all these women we were impacting and supporting. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to carry on and I'm just going to rebrand it as REAL. Real Estate Empowers Ambitious Ladies Management Group. And that's how this came about, and it is for anybody, any woman in the real estate industry, and men. I think that we do have someone here today, a man, and I think he's probably the smartest guy around to be here. Okay, so you've taken him under your wing, Virginia, great. So I think you're very smart for being here, because this is where you're going to learn about how it is to work with women, what challenges we have. So thank you for being here, Nick, and welcome. So I wanted it to be non-branded, that way we can impact more women in the real estate industry. And Real MG is the brand. It's a brand that was created by women for women. And our mandate is to support, inspire, encourage, and mentor women to be the best versions of themselves, whatever they need. We have some really unique challenges as women in business. Real estate can be highly competitive and lonely at times. So we need these support systems together so that we can work and really create, I'm not a big fan of tribe, but create a tribe of people we can rely on, we can refer out. We can tell each other's stories, our challenges, and we feel supported. So that's what Real is all about. It is membership-based. I launched in January. We have many of our founding members here today. We have approximately 103 members in the group, and I'm very happy that almost half of this room are our members. So thank you all for coming out. This is the first time I'm meeting a lot of you in person, so it's really exciting for me for that. And what makes Real MG really different is that we have niched down into being for real estate, but it's also for entrepreneurs. Anybody that's a solopreneur, that's looking for a network to tap into and create great collaborations. And that's really what we're all about. We want to change the narrative on what's out there. A big pain point for me is going to conventions and meetings and not seeing any women represented on those stages. And I think that we do a really good job and we need to get acknowledged, and I want to see more women on stage. I personally tend to pay attention a little bit more because we're not on stages all the time. So I'm always interested to hear what a woman has to say, because you know what she has to say is going to be amazing, because we have to be that much better at our jobs than men. So that's another big thing that I want to be rolling out. And also we have different. So there's the networking portion, there's the consulting section, and then there's the investing section to build wealth. And that's a huge thing for me. I just got into purchasing an investment property last year, and man, I don't know what took me so long. It was the easiest thing, and I just feel so much better that I'm in the market for investing, and I can create some wealth as I get older for passive income, which will allow me to retire, which I probably never will, as long as I'm working with lovely ladies like you. So today we called this the Titans of Real Estate. And the reason why I wanted to call it the Titans of Real Estate, it's kind of a stereotypical title, but you know what? These women that we have, we're going to bring up on the stage today, they are titans in the industry. They really are. What they have built is so amazing. I'm so proud of them. I'm inspired by all of them. Their stories are incredible. And what it shows is that resilience, right? You've got that resilience to keep going and build something for yourself and others. And others. So I'm really happy to have them here, and all the sponsors I have, amazing, the sponsors I've had, they've just come out to support, and those are the people that we will attract through Real MG. So if anybody is interested in joining our network, I know there's a lot of non-members here, but if anybody is interested in joining our network, we have a special on our membership. It is membership-based. From today until June 15th, off the annual premium membership is $350 US, and that includes monthly information. You have access to our network platform, which we're hosting on Mighty Networks. It gives you discounts on an event like this. It also gives you access to our members. Collaborating with our members. I have, there's a special member that when I launched this, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not in real estate." And I said, "You don't have to be in real estate. This is for women that want to support other women and create collaborations and great business associations." And she is a photographer and a brand strategist, and I used her for all of my rebranding. And so she's getting a lot of business just from being affiliated with Real MG. So I encourage all of you to speak with our members today. We're going to have a special, you probably saw a dot on your registration badge, your name badge. We're going to have a special networking game just to encourage more networking. And we'll talk about that a little later. But what I wanted to do was bring up our first guest speaker, Kathleen Black. I think that we were just Facebook friends, right? And I've been following Kathleen for probably 2 or 3 years. And I've been following her story, and then she wrote a book called Relentless to Rise, and I was at the launch of it, and I purchased the book right away. And I read it, and I just loved her story. And what I especially loved in the book, if you haven't already had a chance to read it, you should really look it up. I loved the chapter on Electric Circus. So I know I'm dating myself, but if anybody remembers Electric Circus, people are nodding their heads. It was so, you know what, it was such a cheesy show. But I religiously watched it Friday nights. I was like, oh yeah, this is so cool. It was that much music, right? And I was like, how the hell did I get on there? And this lady writes in her book a chapter called Electric Circus, because she at 15 years old managed to get on that show. And I was just like, wow, like I was almost like fangirling. You know, she got on Electric Circus, so that was that was what sold me on Kathleen. So I thought, this girl's really cool. I got to finish reading this book. But also, Kathleen has a documentary that was written, that was done on Relentless to Rise. So I'm really super excited to see that documentary, but I really wanted to have her here to tell us a little bit about her journey from real estate agent to her coaching and consulting business that she's created. And what's fantastic about Kathleen is a lot of her coaches are women. And you do find that when a woman creates a business, she brings on other women, which is just amazing, the ripple effect from that. So I would love to have Kathleen come up, and I'm going to ask her some questions. Now I've got to go to my notes. Oh, we should have done that.
No, the director tried to get me to do that for 2 years. There was no chance.
Okay, you know what?
You want me to sit there?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Alrighty. First of all, I would like to read Kathleen's bio because it's fabulous. It's a very short bio. Don't want to leave anything out. Stacy sent this over to me, so I do want to read that. Kathleen Black is a globally recognized mindset and performance expert, best-selling author and speaker. Guiding iconic brands and high-net-worth professionals to add billions of additional sales volume annually through her unique approach of empowered leadership and expert mindset training. Who doesn't want that? Kathleen is a woman with iconic leaders creating a better world for all. She is a two-time best-selling author of Top 1% Life, Shift from Chaos to Calm in Your Business and Life, as well as Relentless to Rise, Your Path to Personal Expansion. Kathleen's life story that inspired the full-length documentary, The Relentless One, directed by Emmy-winning director M. Douglas Silverstein. She lives in Oshawa, Canada, with her two independent, free-spirited children, Ethan and Ella. I love that. I love that you describe them as free-spirited. So Kathleen, I wanted to ask you a few questions about your business and how you came to create it. You had a very, I don't know, interesting upbringing, let's say. Interesting upbringing. What do you believe was the most pivotal moment in your life that put you on your real estate journey? Yeah.
First of all, thank you for having me, Michelle. And I want to start just congratulating you on this event because it takes a lot of guts to put that together. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm honored to be part of it. So thank you for that. What put me on my path for real estate? It's an interesting question because whenever I tell the story, the truth is I did not want to become a licensed realtor. I know it's not really the room to say that, but I had two little kids.
I think a lot of us think that.
I was renovating properties, I was renting out, dealing with tenants, and I was kind of lugging two little kids along with me. I was like, I don't need another job. I have enough, thank you very much. But eventually I did, decide to get into real estate, just more so to help with my ex-husband, our investment properties. But I think the two real reasons that led me to real estate was, one, I had my son in university because I love a challenge, and it's a really good idea to have a child in the second year of university, like if you want a challenge. So I decided to go for that, but I didn't want us to be in like a little apartment. I wanted us to be somewhere with a little yard where he could be with kids and have a normal upbringing. I didn't want any disadvantages because I was a single mom in university. So I started to take in boarding students, like room and board, young people coming from Quebec, or afterwards just renting, certain rooms out. And that gave me a taste of leverage. And it may sound like a little thing, but it was a really big thing. It was like, hey, I can get creative. I can make things better for myself. later on, once I was finally licensed, I went through the start of a very difficult divorce. I know some of us relate. It took me 5 years to get divorced. I put an affirmation into the world that before the new year starts, I will be divorced, happy, free, starting, a new life. And sure enough, the last day of mail, 5 years later, I got that letter. I was like, universe, that's not quite what I meant. Like one year would have been fine, but I will take 5. But kidding aside, I found myself in a situation where I wasn't the breadwinner. All of our assets were frozen. We had investment properties. It became very difficult, and I had no income. And I had 2 little kids. I was like, you need to make some decisions really fast. So I had to decide, do I go back to managing dental offices? I was good at it. It had more predictable hours, but the growth opportunities were not there. The security financially was not there. And I had to make a choice. And really, it's hard sometimes, but I chose to invest in myself. It's like if you take a risk on yourself in real estate, you can find the resources to navigate your life. And for anyone who's been through the family court system, I needed resources to navigate my life. I needed it very badly, and I didn't want to be left without the resources to do that. So I ended up to go all in real estate. I sold 44 homes my first year in real estate with 2 kids under 5, and within 3.5 years, there's a little more McDonald's than perhaps should have occurred. I invested in a few Happy Meals. But we get it done, right? We get it done. And thank goodness, because it taught me how to be really efficient doing real estate. It taught me how to help other people to be efficient. So that journey was 100% meant to happen.
Yeah. And sorry.
Thank you.
I had two mics.
We'll share. But what made you create your own coaching and consulting business? What led you down that path?
Yeah. I think, I have a psychology degree, but lots of people do, right? I have a psychology and women's studies degree, and although people say, what will you do with women's studies? I've done a heck of a lot with a women's studies degree. It's helped me a lot with how we speak to people, how we empower other people. It's really been pivotal for me, to be honest. I didn't want to start my own coaching and consulting company. That's the truth of it. I was working with a team who started a company. There were 3 owners. The owners were not getting along. Within 18 months, they had about $200,000 in debt. Still don't know how they did it, but they did. So within 18 months, I became director of coaching, and I decided, was listening to Think and Grow Rich in the shower, because that's the only place my kids don't bug me. So I listened to the audio in the shower. I did, the short version, and something just came over me. I was like, you're running this company fully, like you own this company, you need to own half this company. And something in me, like once you get resolved mentally, watch out world, because I had resolved mentally. I was like, I will own half of this company or I am leaving. So I approached the other owner, his head spun many times. And eventually 6 months later, I did. I owned half the company. I turned around all of the debt, and it might lead to something else, you'll ask me, but thank you. Turned around the debt, and I realized nobody else was waiting in line, right? I was so excited. I'm a business owner now, I have 50% ownership, and then I see the books, I'm like, you own half of $200,000 in debt. Like, what are you doing, right? But I was so excited to have the opportunity, and thank goodness I did, because fate has come in to my life many times. And once we cleared the debt, and I was supposed to make what we agreed I'd make once I made all of those investments, let's say, into the business, the other owner decided he wanted to go in a different direction, and he wanted it to be a cash cow. And I really wanted to have a vision for teams and to help elite performers and bring people together. So at one point, I showed up at the office and I was locked out. And it was an interesting time. So, I bet on myself again. And I hope everybody's here. And I had to bet my mortgage on it, on my house, and get a lawyer. And I fought and I won. He had to buy my 50% of ownership. I retained all the content, and 50% of the clients ended up to come with me, which is so rare. That doesn't happen when you sell your half of the business. It's because of the way it was done that I ended up better off in the end. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, but it's not what women do, though. Sometimes we just don't have the confidence to actually fight for what we want. And, that leads me to the next question. What obstacles, will you share with us what obstacles that you came up against, in business along the way, maybe when you were in real estate? What type of obstacles did you come up against?
Well, I think, and it's partly mindset. I think there were lots of obstacles, but to be honest, I expected. there would be lots of obstacles. So to me, it's not change it. Eventually, I want to change it, but it's how can I get through this, right? So there's obstacles bringing my kids. I remember duty time, and Kathleen, we don't know how to tell you this, but you can't bring your kids in anymore to the office for duty time. Like, where the heck am I going to put them, right? It's like, okay, interesting, like, shift. But I think the thing that we fear when you said about, giving ourselves the confidence, and when I left the coaching company, I was really scared that dream I had was gone. Right? I was like, I cared about my clients. I cared about people. And I was really like, it's gone. Like, I sacrificed kids' sports. I sacrificed sitting, at birthday parties with them. I sacrificed things that mattered for that business. But at the end of the day, if it comes from you and the energy's in you and the vision's in you, you can move companies. It goes with you. Right? It goes with you. So if we have that piece, that's what I found. So I mean, I think as a woman, honestly, it's hard. I can't say for sure, but it was actually said to other people that what was done to me with locking me out was done because I was a woman without resources, and what was I going to do about it? And that lit a fire in me. I thought, you don't know who you're betting against. Like, I might have walked away, but now that you said that,
Listening to you, it's the same thing when I left corporate. It would have been very easy for me to have gone back into corporate. I could have stayed, obviously, working with my boss. He was fabulous, the best out there. But I really wanted to do something for myself, and as I'm getting older, into my 50s now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So I really had to get out of my comfort level, and he also encouraged me to do that as well. And, it takes a man that's really tuned into their feminine energy. And I do think that men do have that, to encourage you to do things that it's going to leave them a little bit of a lurch, but, so when I decided that I wanted to build this network on my own and see what happened, it was hard. I was leaving that comfort, but if I had stayed and gone back into a corporate setting, I wouldn't have been growing, and that would have been hard as well. So I think that when you do change your mindset, that anything can happen and is possible. And I think, when you put something out into the universe, it does come back to you. So make sure whenever you're putting anything out into the universe, it's positive and it's good, because then the positive and it's going to come back.
So sometimes those shifts, right, are huge opportunities, because you asked me why I wanted to own and run a coaching and consulting company, but I lived, breathed, like that company was like another child who I spent more time with than my own children, right? I loved it so much. Like, I never really wanted to leave. So I needed the universe to be like, you're not paying attention. Like, we're going to kick you out there because you're meant to do something else. Exactly. And what a blessing.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, for sure. Because we're happy to have you here today, speaking with all of us. Can you tell us a little bit about the documentary that's coming out, Relentless to Rise? I've seen some previews, trailers, and I think it's just phenomenal that you did the documentary. How has that changed your business? How has that experience changed the way you're doing business now, or has it changed it? And I'm a little fangirl here because now you've got a documentary coming out and have been on Electric Circus. So.
If you stand outside the window of Electric Circus in the middle of winter, like freezing and just looking in, and
like, please come in here.
And you leave the boyfriend outside of the boat. Yeah, he was a good sport. No, he's a nice guy. But you know what? I was thinking about this question. I mean, some things that we go through, it's so hard for us to see how the world sees it. It's been an interesting journey creating a documentary, right? Like, it seems fun, but it's quite vulnerable. Like, you're opening up your whole life to a director, and you're trusting him to impart your life in a way that you feel comfortable with, and family and friends are there. So, I mean, I would guess that, it's changed our business a little bit more because people understand me, like, as a person, and my beliefs and my values. And I've always said I don't do business coaching, which might sound kind of odd in this room, but there's no business or personal, there's just people, and there's how we do life. That's all it is, right? The people who don't build their businesses bigger that want to, it's usually a personal thing, a mindset, something holding them back, something they don't believe in themselves. They need someone to mirror their excellence to them. And what I hope is that the documentary does that. Like it really mirrors capability back. And one of the interviews I did, the journalist said to me, and this is probably what made me feel the best about the documentary. He said, you know, Kathleen, I watch these things all the time. Like this is what I do for a living. He said, there's a lot of things that come past me that are inspirational. He's like, it's quite common to have inspirational, but your film is inspirational and aspirational. And that's where I was like, okay, like it was like I can feel emotional. It was worth it because that's my whole message, right? Take the things that happen in life and use it as fuel to build what you want. Like aspirational isn't just, okay, rah, rah, I feel better. It's like I can do something bigger than I'm doing right now. And that to me makes everything worth it in life, right? So I think that's how
Because there was a quote, I think you put it on Facebook, and the quote is, work with what you've got until what you've got is what you want, then work with that to build more. And you have definitely done that, and I'm not sure about the ladies here in this room, but I am totally inspired by you. Love what you're doing, you are inspirational, and for me, it's all about the mindset and really being part of that, like letting it flow. You've got to let it flow. I think sometimes we work against it, and that's when we get into trouble. So thank you so much. Thank you.